Welcome back, everyone, to the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming to you straight from the heart, where the talk is real and the vibe is always live, like we say and we continue saying. For any show requests, feedback, or anything under the sun that you can think of, you want to shoot our way or just shout out and say, get a hold of us at Real Double Dose Channel at yandex.com. That's yandex.com. And as well as check out our blog spot at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. You can find insights and so much more throughout the blog pages. And as well as we do, like I said before in the previous episodes, realdoubledosechannel.com is official, coming to you with apparel and so much more, and signups and giveaways. Check us out on our About Me on the blog spot for now. And you can check out the links for our books and the wonderful about 11 or 12 stations that we actually got a chance to put down, but some are TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Blueberry.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Podcast Addict, Google Cast, all kinds of stuff. And the links are always going to be at the SoundCloud or the Blogspot, and you can find them throughout Google as well. So we just want to say thank you for that. Don't forget about the giveaways and signups and so much more. And let's get to the flavor of how things are going to be. This is not going to be like the most longest kind of segment we've had. We've had longer segments because we had to hashtag punch it to the line, but this right here was a planted seed that definitely caught me off guard downtown. And I was going to be meeting up Tony and them, or Anthony, as you guys know, over at the studio before this actually came about, and it resonated with all of us. But this segment, and we want to say thank you to our sponsors, GiveMeAllThat.com, and as well as Bernendi Solutions, where everything can be found, and so much more. But this right here was hitting on the spot of, let me give you the title of the show. The title of the show, this segment is going to be hashtag Are You Listening? Now, it could be hashtag Are We Listening? So I don't know, however way Angela and them decide to put it up there. But I wanted to go up there and I want to put Are You Listening? Because it's all of us as one and so much more. But I was downtown doing my experimental runs, and I call it my work experiment because it's fun to do, but at the same time, it's an experiment of life. It's an experiment of getting to know other people, getting to bump into wonderful, wonderful people, and it keeps my spirit uplifted and keeps me from being a complete office potato to where I'm just so, like yesterday, I spent about maybe 7 hours on a project and, doing the online stores and different ones where it comes down to getting the books and stuff together. And I found myself just stiff, after I got up. But it keeps me moving. And when that road, is down to done, the creator of all things will let me know. But until then, furthermore, I was debating. I had a couple cups of apple juice, not to mention about 3 or 4 cups of coffee that day and so much more. I'm more of a liquefied person when I'm downtown. And all of a sudden, I had this feeling when I was about to go to the parking ramp. And it was like, Lex, why don't you just go over to the restroom? And I'm like, no, I don't have to use the bathroom. Have you ever had that feeling when you're just driving the car and all of a sudden you wish you would have had to use the bathroom? You had like 10 gallons of fluid and you're just thinking, man, I wish I wouldn't have had that last cup of water or Diet Pepsi, whatever your thing is, Diet Coke, whatever it might be. I was just like, man, okay, no, I won't go. Then I procrastinated a little bit more, talked to a few friends. Then I was about to walk out again. I'm like, man, I just don't know. Maybe I should go. Oh, okay. No, yes, no. And, fighting with myself in the middle of, downtown chaos. And I'm thinking, why are you making such a big deal out of it? And I'm like, what? Obviously, it's bothering me for a reason. Let me listen to the itching that's going on and scratch it. And let me just go over to the restroom. Well, I didn't feel it, but maybe it was for a reason. But I actually felt that. And I'm like, I changed my mind one more time and I was about to head downstairs to go walk underground to the parking ramp until all of a sudden, right by the staircase, I was going to take one step down and something literally, the feeling, the calling I finally just tapped into, just yanked me around to the corner. And I said, look, I'm going to go into the bathroom. Oh, well. Big deal. I'll probably, feel better that I did. Once I get behind the wheel, I won't be so anxious to run to the bathroom when I get home. Who knows? And all of a sudden I was in there and I went to the stall. There was not much for me to do. I just kind of sat there like, okay, well, that was pointless. I felt, but at least I tried. So I walked out of the stall, went to the sink to wash my hands. And as I was grabbing the paper towel, I heard this voice. And this voice called out to me, not me named specifically, but it called out to me and said, "Is anyone there? can you please help me? Is someone there? I need help, please. And my heart began to just beat like flight or fight, or is it, yeah, one of those, you know what I mean? I get tongue tied sometimes, okay? But I'm just saying, I immediately decided to dry my hands, and I just threw the paper towel in the trash, and I said, yes, I'm here. I just called back. I'm like, I didn't identify who I was, if I was working for the place or not. It was just that moment of just panic, like, okay, are you having a cardiac issue? Because a lot downtown, especially being here in beautiful Minnesota, and then the most prestigious, hospital, Mayo Clinic being there, and all people, presidents and celebs and so much more all over the world try to get here from all over the country for their health care. I've been going to that health care for 25 plus years, I'll say. And, I love my doctors. So I'm just saying. But I heard it and I'm like, okay, so I had to adjust my mind and keep it calm, my voice, so I could respond to her. It sounded like an elderly lady, but I didn't get a chance to see her right away. And ultimately I'm thinking, man, okay, can't be something that's keeping her, because, she's not shaking, she's not screaming. And then all of a sudden, I don't want to get too open with what she shared with me, because that's her personal, understanding. But, certain things happen in your life from all ages. I had told her later on, after we got her taken care of, that, health problems don't have a discrimination of age, race, any of that. Health problems come to you. Situations come to you. We all have them. Anyone can say, no, I don't have that problem. I don't have a bladder problem. I don't have a foot problem. I don't have that. Well, look, there's some problem that's going to be coming to you eventually, or you just pass it along. Let's be real. Hashtag yes, facts. So I was just saying, but at the end of the day, I just told her, stay still. Let me grab someone. I had my coat and everything on. It's very cold outside, and I had my purse, backpack, and different things, and I wasn't equipped to kind of go in there, and I didn't want her to feel off guard. I didn't think about my badge and so much I had on, but I was like, well, let me grab someone just in case it's more of a problem that I'm gathered for, so someone can be here not just as a witness, but to be here and make sure this person is properly taken care of. So I had grabbed a few of my colleagues, and I had asked them to help and step in, and they completely, I was just saying, my little BB queen, my little Becca Boo, she came in, my Southern Comfort came in, and she dropped her lunch, and she literally came, she didn't say, what is it, call someone else. She just came immediately. And I love that about how her heart is. She's just the most warmest, melting little blonde bombshell. I would just say she's just a sweetheart. And she came over, and she, talked calmly and helped her out. And a couple other wonderful ladies, grabbed a wheelchair and so forth. And we got the situation handled, and I just sat there trying to make her, the lady who was, elderly lady who was in the situation, laugh and have a good time, and kind of just brush it off. Like, I know how she was feeling. I felt that before, but I had to get the embarrassment off and just let her know, hey, you're okay. This happened for a reason. This happened right now for us to take care of you, and for me to be able to hear your voice. When all was said and done, even though the elderly lady, I didn't get her name, but ultimately she was an angel. She kept calling me an angel, but I didn't feel like Lex the angel. I felt like that was my angel that day. And what it did for me, once we said bye and gave each other hugs and made sure she got on her way to get, taken care of properly, and, call her nurse or whatever it might be, it just brought in the fact, hashtag, are we listening? Are you listening? And, maybe I'm thinking of the Are We Listening? I think I like that. But no matter what the title is, it gave me this understanding. It gave me a whole resurrection of enlightenment, to where you can be so bogged in and think you're so tuned in to things going on. You can believe that you're listening and you're trying to see the signs, and, oh, I saw this happening and I saw that happening and I was aware. But there's so many little things, subtle things that go past us that we don't think twice or whatever about. There's different times where I've left my cup behind and I'm thinking, man, let me go back and get my cup. No, that's too far of a walk. I'll leave it there. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I turn back around, maybe it's saving me from getting in an accident. And if I turn back around, will someone else stop me and hold me up? Or maybe, who knows? I could have walked over a couple $100 on the floor that day. I'm just saying. So you never know. It's like Russian roulette to a certain point when you take those, should I listen to it? Should I not? Just like I was hearing one of the gentlemen was saying something. I don't know what it was or who was speaking about it, but unfortunately and fortunately for that day when the 9/11 happened, a gentleman was supposed to, his wife had asked him, did he mind bringing his daughter to school or something like that. Don't quote me on the story. I'm pretty sure you can hear it or find it. And he was saying, no, I'm going to be late. I got to go. Can you do it? And I guess his wife would not let up on him that morning in particular. And she was like, please bring her to school for me, please. And finally he said, yeah, okay, I'll bring her to school. And then he wound up calling in for the day or something like that. But ultimately, because of his wife pleading with him and him listening to her and not going with his will, he dodged a huge, historical, tragic moment. And I'm not saying those who were in that tragic moment didn't listen, but the love and the memories they left behind is ultimately bringing some kind of triathlon to those out there who are missing their physical presence right now. God rest their souls. God bless their souls. But what I'm saying to that is hashtag, are we listening? Are you listening? You, us, we, our. It's just the whole understanding of, if I wouldn't have took that time to listen. Now, there's a difference between, I forgot my pen, I'll get it tomorrow. There's subtle things. And there's a difference between something gnawing at you. Now, when I asked the lady who was in the bathroom stall that was having difficulties being stuck, how long was she there, I believe my Southern Comfort asked. I'll call her. I think she said a little over half hour. And it's funny because within that time frame of at least 40 minutes, I was debating and fighting with this nuisance, I thought at the time, to go see what was going on with my own, needing to go to the bathroom and possibly shake off some, stubbornness in myself to go, 17 cups of coffee and juice and everything else later. But it wasn't even that. And as I went in there knowing that I didn't have to really use the bathroom at all, and I heard her voice at that very point in time, it made me stop to say, man, this is why I was called to the bathroom. This is why I was called over here. This is why. Because sometimes we want to ignore the very thing that is calling our attention. We want to ignore the same. And this is not just a representation of helping someone in a situation. It could be. This is not just a representation of, hey, should we go buy that sweater and go back and get it? You never know. But whatever way it's used in your life, take note of it. And I will say, when that thing comes to you and us, like, hey, let's do this. When you're feeling that moment of tiredness and you're just so exhausted to where you don't take that nap, but something else is saying, hey, take that look at this one more time. Take a go at it one more time. Push yourself a little bit further. Or, who knows? Just go to this appointment and make that appointment. Just call this person right now. Who cares if you get their voicemail? Leave a voicemail for them. Just call them. Just text them. There's something. And we know what is that calls us to it, the intuition of it. And some of us are detached from it in such a way that we just see it as miniature, minute subtleties. And some are a little bit more intertwined and tapped into where they see it as a huge, huge calling. And some out there who are just like, you know what? Not today. Stuck in their own rapture. So what I will say to that is, once again, is, are we listening? Are we listening from the inner pulling of that whole creating divine that's inside of us, the creational divine, the creator's hand, the creator's intuition, the spirit of all things? Are we listening to that? People can call it the ether. You can call it whatever you decide to put a label on it. We know what it is. It's the same thing as knowing what direction to take. And some people say, well, I don't know what happened. It just happened. We know what happened. We don't have the exact name to put on it. We don't listen enough. And therefore our blessings are gone, or the blessings of others pass us by. And that right there, to me, let us know that we have to be in tune to the spirit a lot more. People want to put a bubble on it and say, oh, it's just sitting in a church pew, it's reading this chapter, I don't understand this, and I don't understand this, and everything has to be a religious. No, it's not. But we have to become smart here. Okay, let's be intelligent and realize that we know we did not create the sky. I've been saying this for a long time now. Many have said it before me. We know we didn't create these things. We know we don't make our blood flow. We know we don't make our lungs keep going, our heart keep beating. Homage is beyond that, to give gratitude for all those things. But I give homage and gratitude to being able to know that I officially, after some procrastination, I finally chimed in to go ahead and see and hear the calling. I was listening to the voice of intuition, the spirit of all things, to go to that certain place and hear the lady calling for help. Now, anyone could have came in. She could have called before then, and we never asked her. She could have called someone and they were just like, hey, I don't have time for that. I gotta go. Some people were just probably thinking, okay, this is whatever. Who knows? Because I did hear a couple people leave when I was in there. So I'm thinking, but at that moment, she called for me. I felt in some way there was only one person in there. Okay, I was very quiet. I wasn't singing, wasn't making noise, but I'm saying she called for me. It was for me to come through there and have that for myself to have a witness to it. I have a witness for all that 40 minutes of me procrastinating was such a wonderful gift in order to help her. It was specifically for Lex to go in there. Now, although I did call everyone else, a couple other ladies or, my Southern Comfort, come help me, just to make sure the situation was, carefully done and thought out. It was for that very time and that very blessing. It was chosen for me to not only be there and go through the beautiful monuments of seeing what unfolded and how it unfolded and how much time it took to unfold, but it also was there for us to communicate with each other and say, hey, I'm here, I'm listening. I'm tuned in. I listen to it calling me. It doesn't mean run into a burning building. Okay, don't take me wrong. It doesn't mean just go, crazy and just say everything is just out there. You know when you feel it in your soul, when it won't let you go, when it irritates you enough or something's pulling you hard enough to get your attention. But you also have to be tapped in to be listening to what that feeling and what that understanding is. And it could save your life and save the lives of those as well in many, many occasions. All I have to say to that is I'm so grateful that I was. And, we all have to take responsibility for that. So hashtag, are you listening? Hashtag, are we listening? No matter how you tape it up, it still means the same thing, Buttercup. So I want to put that out there. And it was also for me to be able to have that and have this show based on that. I know it inspired Tony, it inspired Angela, my team. It inspired different ones that got a chance to share that day. But it's definitely here as a lesson to inspire all of us together on the RDDC. And I think about that too. People say, well, why do you do what you do? You don't have to do that. You have other avenues open. You have this because it's my goal. It's my gift. It's my duty. It is my promise for my breath to still be here to give the life of the spiritual essence inside of me over to whoever is listening in right now at this very moment, who actually has the span of attention to hear what I'm saying, who actually cares about being here in this very essence to say, man, this is a chapter that was taken from the presence of her life. And she's sharing it to mine, and this is where I can apply it, or this is where I've seen it. And maybe from this seed being planted again, the 1 equals 1 million, it'll permeate and have a ripple effect once more. So that's how I will say that. And I just want to put that out there for you. You're amazing. And that's why I say I love you all. You could always check us out at Real Double Dose Channel on our Instagram, and we're going to get that whole revamped. And as well as RDDC Lex Team /Facebook.com. You want to go out there and have your shout out, whatever it might be. You know what it is. I'm just saying, this is your host Lex. Be the change, feel the passion, embrace the power of the spirit. Hashtag, are we listening? Hashtag, are you listening? Either way, you know what I mean. So be blessed, be amazing, stay true, and we'll be back with you very, very soon.